This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports. Good morning and welcome to the debate show, November 1st, 2025. First day in the month of November. Look at that, man, time is flying this year. Maybe I'm just old, that's what it is. I'm here with Jack Hirsch and James Martin. I am BA. Today we have an assortment of debates. The first one starts off from yesterday's game. The Dodgers tied up the series with Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series. It is 3-3 with the game coming tonight. Game 7 coming tonight, and I think James called that. But let us get into the debate here. Shohei Ohtani, I always massacre his name, was intentionally walked 5 times in the game 3 of the World Series. Should Major League Baseball enact a rule to discourage teams from issuing intentional walks to superstar players? Hey, Brent. Go ahead, Jack.
You got to decide, Brian, who's going first here, whatever. We could have a stalemate. We could be staring at one another. Because, you know,
I did decide. I said Jack.
I was ready to counter James's argument, whatever it was going to be, but maybe we were even going to be on the same page. You know, I'll find that out later. That'll only be slightly delayed. But the answer is absolutely yes. I'm tired of this intentional walk thing, and I'm tired of this old school thinking, oh, don't change any of the rules of baseball. This is how it's been all along. Well, if they're bad rules, just because it's a tradition, you want to keep a bad tradition over and over. And I don't want to hear how the game should be played. I mean, people evolve with the times. Baseball is an entertainment business first and foremost. Talk all you want about it being a sport. It's entertainment. As great a player as Ohtani is, he's an entertainer at the end of the day. That's what people are paying for. People are paying to see Ohtani play. They're paying to see him have a bat in his hand. Can you imagine if Babe Ruth was reincarnated? And all of a sudden we could have him for one day, one game, the amount people pay scalpers for tickets to show up at that game. Babe Ruth comes from the grave. He's playing one game. And can you imagine they intentionally walk him every time he gets up? It's ridiculous with Ohtani. Baseball has got to make an adjustment. Now, I know people could say, well, the pitcher could walk him anyway, just fake it, pitch him out of the strike zone, give him pitches bad enough that he's not going to swing at. No, the penalties have got to be more severe on an intentional walk. Instead of the player getting one base, let him get 2 bases. Discourage an intentional walk. Okay, there's no one on base. You want to walk Ohtani, he gets second base. So he's going to now get the equivalent of a double. He's going to be in scoring position. Also, there should be a rule that maybe, and this is my idea, that every team should designate one player who, once you walk them, the first time, every time you walk them, they get 2 bases, not 1. 2 bases, not 1. So you have a designated player who really, if they get walked, there's severe penalties on the opposition. But to just keep walking Otani like that, if it's a strategic thing, I understand it. I can forgive it. If it's extra innings and the team has someone on second base in scoring position, and Otani's up and he has a chance to knock in the winning run, yeah, first base is open. You can walk him to get to the next hitter. That's strategy. But to play scared like that and keep walking him over and over every time he gets to first, and they did the same thing with Aaron Judge as well, takes away from the game. It diminishes your stars. And I don't want to hear baseball strategy, this and that, because the strategy is it's weak. It's really weak to do that. And people come to see Otani play in large part. The World Series, you're coming basically to watch the game, not a particular player. I get that. But especially during the regular season, a lot of people turn out to watch a particular player. When the Dodgers on the schedule, people are more likely to show up at the game because of Otani. Same thing with the Yankees with Judge. They've got to limit the amount of intentional walks. Exactly. What's here? They've got to come up with a rule. And the last thing, I said a while ago, and it took about 20 years to enact what I said about pickoffs at first base, delaying the game, where pitchers shouldn't be allowed to throw to first an unlimited amount of time to hold a run on. I swear to you guys, I've been a proponent of this long before it was even discussed as a rule. Once you throw to first base for the third time, and if you don't get that runner out, the runner automatically gets second because it created more of a challenge. And lo and behold, they adopted something I've been talking about for all the years, even though I'm sure not one rule maker heard what I said.
So you mentioned, Jack, you mentioned at the beginning of the statement about Brian picking somebody, and that maybe I will agree with you. Maybe we agree. You're as usual. You're absolutely wrong. We typically disagree on a lot of things here. I disagree with that because it's not an unfair advantage. Not an unfair. Let me tell you what's an unfair advantage is being born gifted as a player like Otani, being born gifted like Will Chamberlain, being born gifted like Shaq or LeBron James. Barry Bonds, you can't go up against these type of guys without some sort of strategy because they're just. I get what you're saying. I will give in to fans come to watch a game. That's fair, totally fair. But the name of the game, no matter what sport it is, it's winning. Is winning. And if you have a tactical advantage that you can use that goes into the game, why not? I'm going to walk him. It's not as if he walked. Somebody walked him when he hit 3 home runs in a row. In what is it, NLCS? Did he hit those home runs? And he had 9 strikeouts. Come on, he's an anomaly. He's a cheat code as a player. He's great. I don't understand what the Angels were thinking when they gave him up, but definitely it's just too much. Sometimes you got to find a way to find an advantage to win, and also it's strategy. Who was following up in the lineup behind Otani? It was Mookie Betts, and Mookie Betts until last night has been having an abysmal playoffs. He's been like mediocre. So yes, I want to walk him to get to the next guy that's not doing well. And you mentioned that they walked him in the game 3. Game 3 was an anomaly. It was 18 innings. I'd be walking him too. Walking everybody because everybody's arm's probably about to fall off by the time you eventually get to a win. Finally, they didn't walk Freddie Freeman. He had a walk off. My thing is, look, in every game, there's always somebody that's just a cheat code. Adrian Peterson, when he tore his ACL, he came back. They didn't have a passing game. They put 8 in the box. They still couldn't stop him. Shaq, Hacker Shaq. It was allowed. It was a foul. You figured it out. They tried. There was no way to stop him because he was 300 plus pounds and a dominant player. They had to figure out a way to stop him. The tush push, which you and I disagree on, I think it's still a fair advantage because you got to find a way to win. Teams have to figure out a way to stop it. Otani being walked on. I mean, walked. Look, they're the highest paid team in the league. You walk him, the next person's supposed to come up and hit a home run or hit. That's just, I don't want to hear anything about being unfair because again, they pay the most for their players. They're paying for championships, as Bo would say. So I don't want to hear that. If I found a tactical advantage to be able to stop you, I'm going to use it, and I have no problems with what they're doing. And we're in Game 7. They still found a way to win last night, and we're going to 7 games. So what are we talking about here?
Well, the Dodgers, they didn't walk them last night, okay? It wasn't the intentional walks the same way. The Angels, you said you don't know what they were thinking of wanting to move on from Otani. They didn't want to move on from Otani. They badly wanted to re-sign him. He was a free agent. The Angels aren't crazy. They wanted to re-sign Otani as badly as the Cleveland Cavaliers wanted to sign LeBron James when he first became a free agent. So I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, when I'm a visiting manager, Otani's coming to my ballpark, and I'm going to announce beforehand he is not going to get a chance to beat us. I am intentionally walking him every single time he comes up. I'm going to announce it beforehand. Intentional walks. Wow. That's going to go over great with the fans, with attendance, with the TV networks, with Major League Baseball. Wow, that's going to go over great. So that's my strategy as the manager. I'm walking Otani every single time, no matter what. And as soon as he gets up, the catcher holds up his hand, the intentional walk sign, and that's it. And I'm being upfront. He's not swinging a bat with me. How do you feel about that now?
I mean, I still think it's strategic. Again, who is the most? Who is the most? Who would I say? Well, hold on. You asked me a question. Let me say this: who is the most walk baseball player in the history and still led the MLB in home runs? Barry Bonds. I mean, you can't argue anybody's more walked than him, and he did, and he still hit like the king of home runs, albeit his head grew the size of Megamind.
Okay, so what happens? And that Barry Bonds was getting into this situation, going for the home run record. So how would you feel? A player is last game of the season, he can break a record, okay? And they for whatever reason, the other team doesn't want him to have it. It could be personal, strategic, as you like to call it. They intentionally walk him every single time he doesn't have a chance to swing the bat. Every single time.
I mean, is that good for the sport of baseball during that time? I don't know. I mean, I would say I would rather see him hit a home run or have the opportunity to hit a home run. But at the same time, I get where the baseball team is coming from that's defending against a player like that. You don't want to have it. First of all, I don't want to be, if somebody's about to lay a dunk on me, I don't want to be the guy underneath with my hand over my head on a poster. So I'm just saying, I still want to win. I want to win the game. So if it's an advantage to try to win, then why not have that advantage? I just don't look. You're looking at the anomaly. I'm just saying you're looking at the anomaly situation. That's more of an anomaly. I mean, it's not like you're walking everybody. You're walking that particular player.
I mean, I'm okay. Listen, I'm okay with intentional walks if there's more of a penalty, if there are more consequences. If a team is ahead by 1 run and Otani comes to the plate and they want to intentionally walk him, but he's given 2 bases, second base instead of 1. If they want to take that type of gamble, enacting your rule, then I'm all for that. If you want to stick to the old rules of baseball, that's how it is all the time. You can walk them, this and that. it's blatant disrespect for fans coming out to see Ohtani. Ohtani's a performer. Judge is a performer. They're more than just, these guys are more than just players. That's the thing. Certain athletes are box office. People buy tickets to the game to see them. I know myself, when I go out to get tickets to a game, an NBA game, I'm looking at the schedule. If I see LeBron James is playing, my friends used to send me out to get tickets for for all of us to go to the game. They trusted me to pick the right game. I look for a player that's a box office attraction, even if the team is so-so. They want to get excited about something, okay? And I'll tell you a very quick funny story. Dwight Howard, when he left Orlando Magic, they'd gotten, I think, to the finals the year before. But I got tickets for the Orlando Magic, and I come back to my friends, and they go, "You idiot, they're no longer the same team. What are you doing?" I said, "Yeah, but look what they did last year. It's about winning, fellas. You always tell me it's about team." So, that was kind of amusing, my interaction I had with them. But I said my piece on that. It's more than just the game sports. These guys are a few of them are such high-level entertainers. You gotta, protect the fans and the integrity of the game to a sense.
But Jack, I'll say this one little thing and let B go in. You said one thing about disrespect to the fans. Ultimately, what matters is the respect of the player. I think they had total respect of Ohtani and knew what he's capable of and had to eliminate that. That's just what I think that's ultimately what matters. I get the fans, fine, they pay the bills, but they're going to be entertained no matter what.
That's right. It's about the money, really. At the end of the day, I gotta say this: you're hyping on the fact that he was walked 5 times. 4 of those were intentional, not all 5. But he was at the plate. He got on base 9 times in that game. The first 4 times he got on base were all extra base hits, Jack. That guy is a threat. Okay, and all 4 of those intentional walks happened in the extra innings. Do you think I want to put the best hitter on, have my pitcher face the best hitter in baseball in a game-winning or a game-changing game in a World Series? Like your ex-coach used to say, Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. You like to use that a lot. I'm going to tell you. You play to win the game. So if you got to put Ohtani on base, put him on base. Let somebody else be the hero. That's what the World Series is about, too. Not just the big guys doing their job, but the guys that come up behind him that don't exactly have that superstar name that could be the hero. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing about the
Brian, you missed the point. For the playoffs, if the game is in extra innings, I'm good with the rules saying they can intentionally walk Ohtani, anyone else without any penalty. Ohtani, Judge. If a game is in extra innings, a playoff game, I'm fine with that. 100%.
But that's what he said. That's what you said in the question.
Season. It happens during the season. And if a regular season game, if you're going to walk Ohtani every single time he gets to the plate, bases are empty. Oh, I'm going to walk Ohtani, 2 outs, no one on. I'm walking him. There should be a rule to discourage that.
All right, Jack, you're reaching. How many home runs did Ohtani hit in the regular season? Did he hit like 60? Come on, man. It's unreal. I mean, he's up there still. So if he's still getting intentionally walked like that. He's still hitting the ball, man. I mean, his numbers are still like way up there. So it's not something that I don't think anybody's complaining about that. I think you're reaching.
I think anything is respect.
Exactly. I think it's the main thing.
Level of respect when they intentionally walk them, but I don't want. If there was a rule that you can intentionally walk a player or walk them one time during the game, okay. I would maybe give a little leeway. I'm talking about enacting some type of rule, which would be negotiable. Okay, I don't have any particular rule etched in stone how they should go about it, but there's got to be some type of adjustment.
I mean, when was the last time there was 5? I mean, somebody got walked intentionally 4 times. No, I didn't talk 5 times because the 5th time.
Well, that was
that
an
was the
extra.
first.
That was
an
an
extra innings of a
inning.
World Series. They don't normally do that in regular season baseball. They don't need to do that in regular season baseball. Which you're pointing out one thing that happened in a game, to die for. Basically, you're going on to the next. You're trying to tie up the series or advance in the series, whatever the case may be. It's a World Series game. This isn't game 65 of a 182 game season. You know what I'm saying? It's not. So it doesn't make a difference.
The playoffs, I'm okay. If it's extra innings in the playoffs, I'm fine with walking. I'm not strategic.
That's fine. It doesn't happen in the regular season, though, Jack.
They walk them a lot in the regular season, Ohtani.
Not 4 times in a game.
No, that's a bit extreme, but they could.
That's my point. So really, what is the caveat here? The dude is still getting his hits. He's still one of the best hitters in baseball. I mean, people are going to see him in a World Series.
It's Aaron Judge as well. Okay,
Aaron Judge too, but I don't see him getting walked 4 times in the game either. In a regular season
but
game.
It was walked 4 times. It was in extra innings. 4 times in the extra innings.
But
it makes more sense in the extra inning, though. I mean, who wants to give him an opportunity to get a?
If you want to have a rule that you can intentionally walk any player from the 7th inning on, for example, I can be okay with that. But I don't want Ohtani getting up in the 1st inning, and getting intentionally walked right off the bat at the start of the game, for example.
Until the rules are changed, I'm okay the way that things are right now. And I would be okay if it changed. Fine, that's what it is. If it had to do it, but I don't think there's any reason to change that because you're still getting star power, star moments from these big players. It happens. You're not stopping them fully. It's just not. It's impossible. So they are playing. It's I think we're reaching.
Well, intentional walk. Ohtani's a designated hitter for the most part. Overwhelmingly, he doesn't play the field during the regular season. He pitches once in a while when he's healthy. He's going to pitch today, but if you walk him every time, he's irrelevant. They could intentionally walk him every single time. He becomes such a non-factor that who would want to see him play? Even Japanese fans who are in the United States who are looking forward to seeing the Dodgers play, they might think, why are we even coming out to the ballpark? He's not going to get to swing the bat.
I mean,
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
You're taking one game and using it to an extreme. Like I said, he got on base 9 times in that game. 4 of them intentionally walked. One was they walked. The pitcher just walked him. And then the other 4 times he got extra base hits. Not singles, extra base hits. So the dude is doing his job. He's out there, and people are getting excited when he comes out there. It's you play to win a game. I don't know how many times I got to say that. If you got to walk that dude every time he comes up there because he's that much of a threat, that's like, let's go back in the day, when Babe Ruth was playing, and these rules apply. Do you think that in a World Series that they're going to just pitch him, they're going to pitch around him or intentionally walk him if it's an extra innings and he has a chance to win it because Babe Ruth was the dude? So if you got a GOAT coming up there, I'm not, nope, take first base, go to first base, unless it's occupied. I mean, that's the only way that I would pitch to him. But other than that, no, you're going to first base, buddy, because you're not beating me. I'm going to have one of your teammates beat me. That's strategy, Jack. It's strategy. Even for regular season, it's strategy. But for the World Series, it's the World Series. So you got to play to win. But anyway. All right, get on some football here. Who is tomorrow night's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills more important to? Go ahead, James. I'll give you that one.
Okay, yeah. Look, we got a 5-3 Chiefs team and a 5-2 Bills team, but it's more than that. I think they're almost evenly matched, but it's more than that. It's history. These guys have played against each other in the playoffs specifically. We go back to Jack. I watched your show Friday, you and Keith, and I listened to the discussion about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and what they haven't done in the playoffs. And I agree with what Keith said. Is that Lamar Jackson had some issues with what he's done in the playoffs specifically, and Josh Allen. He actually played well in most of his games, in particular that 20. I think Keith didn't know for sure. He thought it was the AFC Championship. It was the AFC Divisional Playoff round where he threw outrageous numbers: 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, and they gave 13 seconds to the Chiefs, and in 13 seconds, Patrick Mahomes got it down for a field goal. So it's like Charles Barkley being on Michael Jordan's watch, Karl Malone being on Michael Jordan's watch. Nobody ate off of Michael Jordan during the championship runs. Nobody ate off of him. And I think it's kind of the situation here with Josh Allen and Mahomes. It's like until last year, no one's eaten off of Patrick Mahomes and Tampa Bay when they beat Kansas City. So I'm going to say Josh Allen here. I'm going to say Josh Allen has more. This game is more important to him because he's definitely got to make sure that him and his team is in position to win because they have poor rush defense. They have average pass. I mean, even though it's not Josh Allen's fault, I think a lot of their receiver play is a little bit less than desired. That's probably why they're trying to trade for a wide receiver. Keon Coleman has been a bit of a bust with 27 receptions and 267 yards throughout to this point in the season. I think Josh Allen has a lot more to play for because he hadn't got to that point to where he's got his MVP, but he's got to definitely try to get over the hump by getting past Kansas City. And looking at Kansas City this year, they look like they're trying to get a championship run again. I mean, I like where the AFC West is going. It looks like, but the Chargers, I thought they were probably going to be the leaders of their division. It's just not that right now. And I looked at the Broncos improving as well, and I thought the Raiders were probably improving, and that's just totally wrong. Looks like Kansas City's probably going to take that division again, and they look much better now with Rashee Rice coming back, Travis Kelce's found a new leg. I think even the run game with Pacheco is pretty decent. It's just even though those guys, some of those key guys on the Kansas City Chiefs team is a little bit old, I think they know that, and I think they're trying to make another run for a championship, and they're going to. And so it's really important to set a standard here right now in the regular season for the Bills to try to say, hey, no, we're still good, and we're coming with the next man up, and we're going to try to win. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I just think, to me, it's more important for the Bills to win tomorrow night than it is the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, you finally gave an answer at the very end, even though you didn't analyze it, which team was more important to you. Doing a quarterback comparison, you had me baffled. I'm not asking who was personally more. The question's not personally who's more important to Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen for their legacies in any way or at the current time. It's within the team perspective. I'm glad you kind of got it together in the closing seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
The question, you weren't answering the question at all until then, and I was just exasperated. I was kind of dizzy. It's like you were taking a test in school, and you're handing your paper to the teacher, but of course the teacher doesn't know because you didn't write your name in this little bit line that says.
Well, I'm going to tell you, take the same medicine that people take.
Just handed it in.
Take the same medicine that people take when they go on the cruise. That's what you need to take, because ultimately, my answer in regard it revolves around those two players. You can say what you want about whatever team, and and about the totality of the team game. No one's looking at that. What they're looking at is those two players. They're looking at Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. You can say all you want. Everybody is looking at those two players and what they're going to finally do. Particularly Josh Allen. He's got to get over the hump.
Looking at him, but we see Kansas City is playing Buffalo. Kansas City at Buffalo, a really big game. Obviously, the quarterbacks in any game are the centerpiece in just about any game. We look at quarterback matchups. I don't care who's playing who. That's the first thing that comes to mind. You're not giving us anything new with that, but they are two future Hall of Famers. Mahomes is an all-time great. Maybe Josh Allen will be perceived as an all-time great, but he's got to win a Super Bowl. I would think it's somewhere along the line for that to happen. But for which team is it more important to? It's not an easy answer, but you think the Buffalo Bills, because basically it's the argument you feel they have to get over the hump finally, get to the Super Bowl and win it. The Chiefs have been there. Mahomes has been to 5 Super Bowls. Okay, I'm mentioning the quarterback since you brought it up. But yeah, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's a more important game to tomorrow night because, there are a lot of people, at least some people, who thought the Chiefs were maybe getting to be a little long in the tooth. Even though they went to the Super Bowl last year, they got blown out in the game. They won so many close games last year that they could have lost in the regular season. And they started a bit slow this year. So they lost their level of favoritism that they've had, over a number of years during the great run they've had, in the Andy Reid, Mahomes, Kelsey era, Chris Jones era, and all. But they've been playing really well, the Chiefs. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, people are thinking at this exact moment, the Chiefs might very well be the best team in the AFC once again. If the Chiefs go into Buffalo and they lose, they don't lose more than a game. They lose their favoritism. Now, Buffalo and Kansas City, it should be pointed out, neither of them in first place in their division. If the season ended, they'd be wild card teams. So both of them need this victory to at least keep pace to win their division and all. And I just feel it's a game, that might have implications beyond tomorrow night. It could have playoff implications conceivably if they meet in the playoffs. And I'll say this, Kansas City is more likely to win a playoff game in Buffalo than Buffalo is in Kansas City. So for that reason, not alone, but for that reason, in large part, it's more important for Buffalo to win and try to secure home field advantage in the playoffs in Buffalo, as opposed to having to play on the road. I think Kansas City could play all their games on the road and win. They've shown that before. Plus, Kansas City has to show their recent form is for real. And if they beat Buffalo tomorrow, look out for Kansas City, because that would tell us this is the Chief team we've known all these years. They're not long in the tooth like we thought. They haven't lost anything. And I think mentally speaking, Buffalo, you might say Buffalo really needs this game more, but I think Kansas City needs it, because if Buffalo should beat them, you kind of wonder, is Kansas City kind of declining a little bit?
Well, they've definitely declined, but I think part of it is just like many other teams. Everybody has injuries. I mean, you had some unforeseen circumstances, like the colliding issue with Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce, knock out one of your best receivers.
Isaiah
Pacheco's
Pacheco, their
out.
running back, is out.
Yes.
But this is
But
going
they
to be
still
a
have
nice
Kareem
test
Hunt,
for
though, right?
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, to see what he
Yes.
could do.
They still have Kareem Hunt, and now you have Rasheed Rice back, and so I think, yeah, it's still Buffalo to me. Like you mentioned, both are not in leading the division. I forgot to mention that the Patriots are up. They're looking like the next best team to come up in in that division, and they're right now they're leading. They don't look like they're trying to back up either. I mean, Mike Vrabel's got that team in position. He got a nice young quarterback. So yes, to me, it's important for Buffalo to say, "Hey, we were the king of this division for the last few years, and we still want to keep it that way." I think they have some glaring holes, particularly that rush defense. They're number 31st in the league, and that's not going to get better. That's just not going to get better throughout the season until because you need personnel to do that to help improve that or coaching. Uh, and that's a big deal because when you get to the playoffs, if you win, let's just say you get to the wild card or you win your division, that's going to show itself, to be a trap in the playoffs because teams run the ball mostly. They to control the clock. So I'm just thinking that's a problem for them. But so they have not insurmountable odds against them, but they have some hurdles to try to get over to try to. So it's more important for them to set the standard and saying that like I said, and mentioning again, Josh Allen, you got to pull out your cape, and be Superman again, along with James Cook, because you're going up against a team again that's won 3 Super Bowls. They've won 3. They've been to about 5 in the past few years, and so I would say that look, you definitely have a more of a sense of importance to win this game.
Okay, so both these teams actually have importance in this game. One, because they're both, like you said, James, both of them are in in a tie for second place or in second place in their division, looking up at the division leaders right now. With Kansas City, I mean, this is like a traditional game every year. It seems to be. What team wins this game? It doesn't make a difference what team wins the game because either way, Buffalo has beaten Kansas City in the regular season so many times they just can't get over that hump in the playoffs over Kansas City. So, I mean, if this is a playoff game, this would be probably a better stated question, but because it's in a regular season, I think it means a little bit more to Kansas City because they're not really used to being in this position. And Buffalo is, New England is a good team. Vrabel is a good coach, and that team is pretty good. But when it comes down to the end of the season, will they be number one? I just don't see that. I think Buffalo is still a good team, the best team in that division. So Buffalo has some. They got to win games, obviously, and they got to go back and beat New England when they go play them in New England. So they're going to have to do that. But in the meantime, they have to win all these games. They're going to get there. They're going to be number one in that division. I don't have any doubt about that. Kansas City, on the other hand, they have tougher teams in their division to defeat. They already lost to, the LA Chargers. So, that's telling in itself to start off the season. And they're just coming off a Super Bowl, albeit they didn't win it, but they were in a Super Bowl. So I just think Kansas City's got a little bit more. They need this game a little bit more because they got to catch Denver, and Denver's playing some extraordinary football. So yeah, I can't guarantee this year that Kansas City is going to take the first place in that division. I can't guarantee that. Not like the other years before this. But this year is just something, they might get it going. And James, you're right to the Buffalo Bills having their defenses. And Josh Allen is not the reason that they're losing these games to Kansas City in the playoffs. But we're not really talking about the playoffs. We're talking about regular season. Buffalo has no problems with the regular season games. So I would think it would be more important to Kansas City so they can say, "Oh, we beat you in the regular season. We can beat because we've beaten you in the postseason. We can beat you in the regular season too." So that's my take. Anyway, and on some boxing. According to Manny Pacquiao, there have been ongoing negotiations for a rematch between himself and Floyd Mayweather. Would there be a lot of public interest in seeing him in the box again? Seeing him box again? I give it to Jack.
Yeah, first off, I highly doubt that it's going to become a reality unless Manny Pacquiao is going to be willing to settle to box an exhibition, because Floyd Mayweather's not going to want to put his perfect 50-0 record at risk. I mean, because that's his whole legacy, that record. Most people, the vast majority, don't rate Mayweather quite on a par with Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Roberto Duran. They rate Mayweather, below those guys. But Mayweather does have an audience, of fanboys who point to the record, who are always mentioning his name amongst the all-time greats. And you always see these social media posts, who would have beaten who. And look, the vast majority of people asked opinions, say in a head-to-head contest that Tommy Hearns would have beaten Mayweather. So most people aren't fooled, but Mayweather has that legacy. Certain, athletes have accomplished something, and that's their legacy. And you can't really put, Mayweather's not going to put that at risk, because even though he would be old, past his peak, if he should fight Manny Pacquiao and it should end up in a draw and it taints his perfect record, people aren't going to look at him quite the same way, and even though you might say, well, it has nothing to do with it. Look, Willie Pep, for example, let's compare Mayweather's 50-0 record to Willie Pep. Willie Pep won 128 victories, 1 loss, and 1 draw. What is more impressive? Going an additional 78 1-1 on Mayweather's 50-0. I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson won his first 40 fights in a row. Then he lost the fight to Jake LaMotta. Then what happened? He went unbeaten in something like 50 fights in a row. I got to look it up. And, Julio Cesar Chavez passed 50-0, but then he lost the fight. I think Pep was 62-0 first. So that's what Mayweather, has to deal with, and he's not going to deal with it. Mayweather, I get the feeling, needs the money despite his incredible wealth. I mean, and that would be a reason, and that's why in part he fought exhibitions. He wants to be relevant too. He wants to be a mega star. And if he was to fight Manny Pacquiao in a real fight, he'd be in the limelight again. People would love it. So would there be public interest? Absolutely, if it was a real fight. It would be big. Is it a sad state on the affairs of boxing? Absolutely. But who cares? I mean, it's about entertainment. People would buy the pay-per-view portion if it were a real fight. And you want to know something? It would be appealing to me because Mayweather would be putting his unbeaten record at risk. That would be appealing to me. And also, Manny Pacquiao's age 46, but in his last fight, he fought a draw against Mario Barrios, who's a belt holder for a version of a world title. And more people than not think Pacquiao won the fight. Never mind that Barrios is awful if you want to talk about world class. But he's not a bad fighter, Barrios. He's a decent fighter. He's just not a championship caliber.
How old is Barrios?
Barrios must have been about around 30, so I don't remember. But that's irrelevant in that case. Now, Barrios just isn't that good. I mean, he's, what Barrios is the equivalent of? Okay, let me put it in perspective, okay? He's the equivalent. Baseball has a starting rotation of 5 starters, and it's a 7th game of a World Series, and it's like your 3rd or 4th best starter starting that game for you. That's the equivalent. A good pitcher, good, but he's not quite, the elite guy you want out there. But so yeah, there would be tremendous interest in it because it's about hype and everything. And if it were a real fight, if it was an exhibition, they were talking about Mayweather Tyson in an exhibition. We stopped hearing, but that's a carnival show. That's getting to the point of being stupid. But now you're talking about Jake Paul and Tank Davis scheduled to take place in a couple of weeks if Tank Davis is allowed to fight after this recent domestic abuse situation. That's actually interesting if it's a real fight because Tank Davis is a great fighter, but he's a little man and Paul's a big guy. But don't give me an exhibition. If Mayweather and Pacquiao and seeing them box again, the answer is twofold. I hate to say it. If it's an exhibition,
you can't do a twofold. This is a debate.
Real, yeah.
You can't do a twofold. This is a debate. You got to be straight on the fence, man. You got to pick one. Which one?
Well, is it going to be a real fight? I got to know that. Is it going to be no? If it's an exhibition, it's not a real thing. You don't listen. Take the two.
You made this question.
I'm going to tell you this: if the Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Kansas City Chiefs the next season after the Super Bowl, if it's a regular season game opening the season or whenever, there's a ton of interest. But if it's an exhibition game, no one gives a darn. No one's getting excited. Oh, rematch, Chiefs and Eagles. If it's an exhibition game, even Brian wouldn't give a darn about it. But if it's a regular season game, yeah, you want to.
Well, okay, let's say for the sake of argument that it is an exhibition because of the age and everything else. Let's just say it's exhibition. What is your answer there? No?
There would not be. The answer is no because of the word a lot. There wouldn't be a lot of public interest. There'd always be some to see them actually in the ring, but there wouldn't be a lot of interest. They couldn't make it a pay-per-view event for an exhibition.
Okay, so if it is an exhibition, I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say yes because of the state of where boxing is. People just old enough, these young Gen Zs know who Mayweather is, especially the fanboys. The purists of boxing probably wouldn't find this appealing because I think that because of the 2009, 2010 dodge of Pacquiao, I think Mayweather kind of dodged him a little bit in his prime. He didn't fight him until like 6 years later.
It got delayed. It was both of them were at fault in reality.
Kind of, yes. But I mean, the thing is, one was wanting to take the to test for PEDs. And to me, I thought that was just, I don't know. I thought that was a lot of BS. And I think, like, come on, let's just have the fight happen because you're both relatively in your prime. And this is probably the great thing for boxing at the time. And it was just like, man, we were all cheated. Because when it happened again, I had no interest. I already knew. By the time it happened in 2015 or 2016, whatever year that was, I still wanted to know. But I'm like, come on, he's not going to win. There's no opportunity because he's well past his prime now, and so it's much better, an advantage for Mayweather. But now in this situation, two older guys fighting, there's no checking for PEDs now. I think the way boxing is, like you said, you mentioned everybody's going to want to watch the Tank Davis versus. Jake Paul?
Well, yeah, that hasn't been publicized well, so I don't know how much interest. Tank Davis has a Mayweather type following to an extent on the East Coast of the United States, and I'm interested if that's a real fight. I'm actually interested how a little great fighter would turn out against Jake Paul, who's a competent boxer at this point.
I agree. But I just think that, if both big names come out and say they're going to, even if it's an exhibition, just like the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. fight exhibition happened, people still watch because they wanted to see those guys fight.
A lot of public interest, that's what I mean. And by I mean a lot, will it do really good business? That's
I
what
still think it will. I think it will. I think even as an exhibition, it's still going to do well because again, people want. I see where you're coming from as in a real fight, but how can you have a real fight with these guys at their age? It's not even something I even want.
Pacquiao just had a real match for one of the major sanctioning body world titles, and
Who?
Pacquiao. He fought a draw at the age of 46. He showed he still can actually fight. And
Yes.
Mayweather, yeah, Mayweather, probably has something left in that regard. But I mean, they won't be the same fight as they were. But
Right.
they'll be a level below. But they can still, they still be able to perform. I mean,
Well, if
look,
that's the case, then I mean, they would then. But I still even think, even in the exhibition, people who've seen. Look, you're going to have purists who want to see it happen, but they probably don't want to see it happen because of their age, and it's not going to be the same level of fight that it was. But I mean, I just think that if it's an exhibition, because of where the boxing has gone, I think they still make a crap ton of money because of where it's at.
it's possible. It's unpredictable at the end. It's all unpredictable. The public mood at the time.
I think that you got two big name boxing names here, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Me personally, I wouldn't want to see a 46-year-old man and a 48-year-old man box. I'm getting sick of that old boxing stuff. That's just me. But those two names draw enough because in both, which you both admitted, they have fanboys. So there's a mass following for both of them. And just in that right there, even if it's an exhibition game, that's going to draw a lot of viewership. And unfortunately, it's not probably going to be the prettiest boxing ever. I know Manny Pacquiao, like you said, he took on a guy that was 30 years old and a belt holder. But he, admittedly, so you said that belt holder wasn't a very good guy. He was good, but he wasn't better.
Barrios.
Yeah, Barrios. And it's just, I mean, they're going to draw. It doesn't make a difference. They're going to draw. Whether I watch them, you watch them, Jack, or James watches them, they're going to get that money in there. It's going to be a high stakes exhibition. Well, a high stakes exhibition show. So because of the names in it, period. It's kind of like, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. People watch that. Mike Tyson's like 102 now, right? So
it was different. Mike Tyson's different. He's on another level as far as being an attraction and mystique. The mystique surrounding Tyson is much greater than any mystique Mayweather Pacquiao could bring.
Well, Mike Tyson is
I don't know about that, but Mayweather, he's brought some major draws. I mean, regardless of, what you think about him, whether you like him or hate him. And if anything, that's the main thing. If you hate him, people still pay to watch, because they want to see him lose. I think he still has an opportunity to draw in a lot of people, even because for one, it's not like you're putting out a fight every 5 months or so. This guy, they like to see people come, and with a delayed absence or with a major, and you just pop up and say you're going to fight. That sparks interest, especially with what they had in the past, having a history in the past. I think Mayweather, he knows how to market. Yeah, that's one thing you can say about him. Money Mayweather definitely knows how to market himself and market a fight. So I wouldn't doubt that they make money, even if it is an exhibition.
I'll tell you what would actually draw, even though it'll never take place and shouldn't take place. If Mayweather decided to challenge Terence Crawford for real, and Mayweather's claim he's never left the gym, I'm in great shape, I'll beat this guy. He get licensed. They could put the fight on in Saudi Arabia. It would be an incredible amount of money that would be made. Mayweather would get paid more than Crawford. Crawford would be just glad to get in the ring and get a lot more money than he'd get when he fought Canelo, but Mayweather would obviously get more. The only way Mayweather is going to box in a real fight if he's really hurting a bit financially. And it's crazy to think when you've made a few $100 million at least you're going to be hurting a bit financially. But Mayweather spends money crazily, really crazily. He likes to show off his fleet of cars, his jewelry, his this, his that. And people don't think someone could wind up broke. Anyone could wind up broke no matter how much they make if they go on these crazy spending sprees. And you get the feeling that Mayweather might badly need a cash infusion at some point, and he might just say, screw it. You know, who gives a darn? I'll put the unbeaten record at risk. I doubt if he would ever do that, though. I think it means too much to him because he protected it when he fought.
He got his money in too many other things.
And I'm gonna have to say, there's no way that he gets in a ring with Terrence Crawford. There's no way. He's too proud of a man.
I agree. But there's always that tiny possibility. If someone is winding up broke or close to bankruptcy, let's say hypothetically, you might throw all that out the window. The only thing that could save is getting the ring again. You saw it in the Rocky movie when Rocky lost all his money, so on.
Well, let's blame Paulie for that. For handing over the power attorney, handing the power attorney over to his accountant, his cheating accountant.
That's like interesting, Brian, with all your money, and then Brian blows it, and Brian said he thought he was doing good business.
First of all, anyway. Yeah, you gotta blame Rocky, like he said. People call me punchy. Yeah, definitely, you might be a little punchy if you're handing over the reins to Paulie. Regarding your money.
Guys, we gotta analyze these sports movies someday. Like that, for example. How on earth did Rocky, with all the money, 10 title defenses, you have accountants, financial advisors, and Rocky's wife, Adrian, too, they're allowing Paulie to handle the money? And Paulie, you know, giving power of attorney to someone. I mean, the whole thing
Hollywood.
makes no sense.
Yeah, it's definitely Hollywood. But Paulie couldn't even fill in for Mickey when he was on his deathbed as a coach. I mean, so how would you let him handle your money for your livelihood?
Paulie, yeah.
I think with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, they're in the time zone right now, meaning their ages, that this is still going to draw a lot of people. I don't think at Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, even at their age of 75, is not going to draw any crowds. Okay, I think it's just their age. It's an ageism thing, but at the same time, you got to look at it. Would you watch them when they're 65, 70 fighting? No. I mean,
the only boxer that I remember coming. Let me say this real quick because I know we got short time. That I remember watching come back into their late 40s was George Foreman. But George Foreman's an anomaly. He's like this big, huge power hitter. I mean, even though he lost speed, he still had that power. And so I think to come back, you have to have some sort of that larger than life figure, literally, to be that type of guy, and then to come back into your 40s to be like dominant. I just don't see it happening for Mayweather, especially like if he were to come up against a Crawford. Like you said, Jack, you don't think that's going to happen, but
he'd have to be flat broke and desperate for that to happen.
Me wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch Mayweather go again.
I'd be embarrassed for Mayweather.
I know, that's right. That's why I wouldn't watch. You know, I'm not as avid as a boxing fan as Jack is, and that just turns me off. Okay, you know, Jack has more of a relationship with the boxing community, and he knows his boxing. So, and I'm just an amateur out here looking at boxing. I wouldn't want to say. I don't care. I don't care who it is. That's way off. That's not even 6'7" no more. Anyway. This has been a very good debate, fellas. Enjoyed your company here. Enjoy Game 7 of the World Series. Your aforementioned Buffalo versus Kansas City on Sunday. There's a plethora of college football games going on today, too, that are important. Go Navy, by the way.
A few seconds. Who we all got for the World Series? Who we all got?
I'm going to go with you, James Dodgers. The Blue Jays. Because if they
I'm going Blue Jays as well.
I want the Blue Jays. I'll be rooting for the Blue Jays, but I think the Dodgers will win.
All right, gentlemen. Well, you all have a great rest of your day. Everybody out there in the comment section, thank you very much for joining in, and adios.